Jeez Louise, life's crazy. Okay. Welcome. Happy first day of the 12 Days of Livfiitmas. So I'm gonna be posting 3 times a week for the month of December, and I have all the videos already planned out, which I have a little flyer that is also linked in the description. And we're starting off with a bang because I know how much you guys love these week of workouts videos, and this one is even more special. I feel like I have so many things to preface this video, but I feel like this specific week of workouts is even more special because it is generally my first week of workouts, just like not even my first week of workouts video. Like, this is generally my first week of working out fully officially since getting my brace off. So this is kind of like post injury edition, like maybe it's gonna be like injury comeback edition, you know what I'm saying? But I broke my wrist rollerblading and I had to get surgery on it, and it'll be exactly 5 weeks from tomorrow. And I got my brace off last week completely. I was surprised about it. Like, I had absolutely no clue I was gonna get it off. So like, this is my first week back, like straight up like normal. Like, I'm able to completely work out as normal. I can't necessarily do like high impact stuff, like I can't like do a burpee or like a power clean or something like that, but I could do like low impact, low intensity exercises. So it's super exciting. With that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown of my workout split. Again, it's not like I've been doing this because I've been in recovery in a brace for the past 5 weeks, but like going forward, this is like what my ideal week of workout split would look like. So I'm planning on training about 4 days a week with 3 rest days. Monday is a leg day, going to be primarily glute and hamstring focused. Tuesday is going to be my upper body day. I've been doing full upper body and I've been enjoying it. I just have been liking trying it out. Wednesday is usually a rest day. If not, I'll switch Tuesday and Wednesday depending on how busy I am and what my schedule is. Thursday is my second leg day of the week, and that is quad and glute focused. And then Friday is still my full body functional day, where I am doing more of like a sweaty body weight focused session, kind of more of like my cardio for the week, just to help with athleticism and all of that good stuff, just to help diversify my training. I am mainly lifting weights, so like the 3 days of the week I'm mainly lifting like heavier weights. Fridays, like I said, more full body functional based body weight movements. And then ideally step goal of 10,000 steps a day. However, since the summer's been ending, like, I ain't even gonna cap, I ain't gonna lie, like, I haven't been hitting it. So I feel like my more realistic average of what I hit for my steps is anywhere between like 8 and 10K, I believe. But I just started wearing my watch again since breaking my wrist. In terms of physique goal, my goal is just to maintain where I'm at right now. I'm not necessarily trying to put on more muscle mass or anything like that. I have been lifting for over 5 years, and I've been an ACE certified personal trainer for the past over 2 years. Going on 3, actually might have been 3 by now. So I do have quite a bit of experience, but I just want to share with you guys like what I do in terms of workouts, and hopefully help to share you guys like what form cues and stuff like that I use to help me really get the most out of my exercises and get the most out of my workouts. Welcome to the first workout of the week. So I always start off my leg days with some sort of dynamic stretch / mobility work. My hips are always really tight, so I just like to do some stretches like this just to help with that. And you want to make sure you're doing dynamic stretches before your lifts and static stretches after your lift. Static stretches meaning you are taking your muscles through a movement in order to get them best prepped for the movements that you're going to be doing in your workout. So first I just did some froggers to open up my hips into a toe grab for a dynamic stretch for the hamstrings. Then I did these really low lateral lunges. I love these so much. I try to stay low throughout the whole entire movement, even when I'm switching feet. This has been amazing for opening up my hips. And then these are either called 90-90 rotations or windshield wipers. I've heard them both ways. I first essentially just drop one knee to the ground, and then I'll eventually do both knees at once. But this is just essentially to help with some hip rotation in that hip joint. Next, I did C steps. I used to do these all the time in high school. So you're essentially just pretending like you were stepping over a hurdle, and this again is just to get some rotation in your hips as well. So it's important to make sure you're doing them both directions, so bringing your knee towards you and then pushing your knee away from you. I do each one of these like dynamic stretches for probably about like 30 seconds a piece, maybe if that. And then I move into some band work, which you do not have to do this step. Some people don't enjoy
glute activation. I personally really like it. I've been doing it for years, and it just helps me to get warmed up and get my blood flowing and get some sort of resistance without it being too heavy or challenging yet. So I always use bands from Hope Fitness Gear. I actually am affiliated with them, and I do have a code. If you use code LIVFIT, it'll save you 20% off your whole entire order and will directly support me. So thank you very much. If you do think of me at checkout, I really appreciate it. But I've been using these bands for over 2 years now, and they never break on me. They never snap, and I love these ones because they're kind of like they're the material of like a booty circle, a booty band, a hip circle, but the size of like a mini band. So I love them because they're so durable. So here I just did some 1 1/2 sumo squats. I essentially only just do one set a piece for each one of these movements for about like 15 to 20 reps depending on the move, but I honestly just do it to feel until I feel some sort of burn, some pump, and some blood flowing. So I basically just come down, do a half of a rep, come back down, and then finish out at the top. Then I went into some just sumo banded squat pulses as well. Then I went into some glute bridges. I really find it really beneficial when I stack my knee over my ankle. I'll get into this more as we talk more about form throughout the video, but especially with glute bridges, that's kind of the prime time to position my feet in order to feel it the best in my glutes, is to stack my knee over my ankle. Then just to get a little bit of a warm up in the lateral plane and to warm up some of the smaller muscles in my glutes, I just did some seated banded abductions. There's obviously not a really big range of motion here, but this is just, again, more so to feel and just to activate those muscles more than anything, and just to get that mind to muscle connection prepped before I go into my actual lift. Alrighty, and moving into our very first exercise, I'm obsessed with these. My favorite exercise ever is a stiff leg deadlift. So these are 1 1/2 stiff leg deadlifts. I did these for 4 sets of 10. These are killer. Now, in terms of form, I'm going to get really detailed because I know so many people struggle with this exercise, and it's honestly very simple once you get it, but there's a lot of little cues and pointers and details you need to pay attention to in order to really nail this. So this is a hip hinging movement, meaning you are initiating the movement by hinging at your hips. So the very first thing that you should do to start this movement is hinge at your hips by pushing your hips backwards like you're trying to push a door closed with your bum. Furthermore, going with that, you want to make sure that your back is neutral. You don't want any curving or flexion in your spine. I always say to pretend like there is a board strapped to your back. That's how stationary and still it should be, and secure and stable, honestly. So what will help you with that is also by tightening your core will also stabilize and secure your back. With that, your head should always be in line with your spine. So when I'm lowering down, I'm ending up looking down at the ground as well, because like I said, neck is always in line with your spine. So when you're pushing your hips backwards, that is inevitably causing you to shift your weight onto your heels, which is beautiful. That's what we love. Then from that point in time, you're going to want to pull up through your heels, up through your hamstrings, up through your glutes to pull you up out of that movement. The reason why we want to constantly be pushing up through our heels pretty much no matter what leg exercise we're doing is because it inevitably causes you to recruit your glutes and just have way better glute engagement. It's a key that you will always want to take with you, because anytime I'm doing any leg exercise, I'm always constantly pushing up through my heels. And like I said, by pushing your hips back, that's going to inevitably shift the weight onto your heels, allowing you to pull up through your heels and really feel this in your glutes. A lot of people will kind of feel this in their back or kind of in their hamstrings, not in your glutes. That's most likely because you're not pushing your hips far back enough and you're not getting a big enough stretch in your glutes. Okay, so like I'm saying, really push your hips as far back as you can, as far as your mobility and flexibility allows, without having to bend your knees too much or without having to arch your back. As you push your hips back, there's going to be a slight bend in your leg to protect your knee. The more bent your leg is, the more glute focused this move will become. The straighter your leg is, the more hamstring focused it is going to be. Another huge tip is to make sure you're keeping that barbell nice and close to your leg. You can also totally use dumbbells for this, but if you bring those dumbbells or barbells too far out from your shin, that's going to cause some stress on your lower back. So make sure you're almost grazing your leg with that barbell, with those dumbbells, and visualize your hands as just simply hooks for the weight. What's pulling that weight up is you driving up through your heels, through your hamstrings, and through your glutes to lift that up, not through your hands. All right, now moving into probably my second favorite exercise. are hip thrusts. I love these for the booty building. Okay, these are just amazing. So first I started off with a warm-up set of just using one plate on each side. I always start with this and do anywhere between like 10 to 15 reps, whatever I'm feeling, just to get, again, like I said, the form down, get ready for more weight, and just, you know, you always want to do warm-up sets before you get into your working sets. Then I did one set of 15 at 225 pounds. Then I did one set of 14 at 255 pounds. Then I did one set of 12 at 275 pounds. So in terms of form, here we go. First thing is that you want to make sure that you're in the center of the barbell and that the barbell pad is in the center of the bar. If you don't do that, once you get up, you're going to feel super out of balance. So truly, really make sure that you're in the center. Roll it up over onto your hips. Then I shimmy my elbows up onto the bench, scoot up my legs so my heels are scrunched up closer to my bum. I push up through my heels and up through my elbows to shimmy my back onto the bench. Back position is going to vary a little bit, but ideally it should be like at the bottom of your sports bra or like at the bottom of your shoulder blades in order to allow you to have enough range of motion. If too much of your upper back is on the bench, like if you're too far low on the bench, I don't really know how to describe it, but like if you're up anything higher than your shoulder blades, you're going to find yourself slipping off the bench. If you're too close to like your mid back, you're going to not have as much range of motion. It's going to cause some stress on your back. Position your legs so that your knees are stacked over your ankles and that there should be a 90-degree angle when you lock out. You should constantly be looking forward for the most part. I'm not letting my head drop back no matter how tired I get. This is going to help create a posterior pelvic tilt, meaning if you were to put your hands on either side of your pelvis and tilt backwards like a bucket of water, that's a posterior pelvic tilt, which inevitably causes more glute engagement. So that's something that's really important. If you were to let your head drop, that's going to inevitably cause an anterior pelvic tilt, tilting your hips forward, and you're going to lose some engagement in your glutes. When I am up on this movement, actively doing it, my elbows are not on the pad anymore. They're not on the bench. And you want to be using like a scooping method to scoop your bum up out of this movement. And you really want to have a nice thorough lockout at the top. It's really important. This is primarily targeting your gluteus maximus mainly, which is the biggest muscle in your bum. And in order to appropriately really target it and get the most out of this and thoroughly get a good rep, you want to make sure that you're thoroughly really locking and squeezing out at the top. Again, not crazy high where you're hyperextending and causing that stress on your lower back. You want to come up till you're just about parallel with the ground. Moving right along to a unilateral movement. I like to include unilateral movements at least once in my leg days, just in my workouts in general, just to help with muscle imbalances, stability, targeting other smaller muscles for stability as well. This primarily is going to be targeting your posterior chain, just like the stiff leg deadlifts we did previously. So this is a single leg stiff leg deadlift, 3 sets of 12. So all the same form tips applies here. We're hinging at the hips, another hip hinge movement, pretending there's a board strapped to our back, initiating the movement by pushing our hips backwards, shifting the weight onto our heels, keeping a slight bend in our leg, and driving up through our heel, through our hamstring, through our glute. Our hands are just hooks for the weight, and we're keeping that dumbbell nice and close to our leg, grazing our leg throughout the whole entire movement, keeping our head in line with our spine. The bigger the bend is in our knee, the more glute focus it's going to be. The less bend in our knee, the more hamstring bias it's going to be. Coming up and getting a nice contraction at the top by holding tension, but not necessarily lunging forward and creating that arch in our back. Now, some people get a little bit confused with this form because honestly, this is technically a B stance stiff leg deadlift as opposed to like a single leg, I should say. All this means is that you're essentially kicking out one leg to favor the other, but it's not necessarily completely single leg motion. So like 70% of the weight is on that working leg, 30% is on that opposite leg where my toe is on the ground, as you can see. Next are glute focused back extensions. Now these I don't do enough, and I feel like they're a hidden gem. So these again are going to be targeting, like everything else, our posterior pelvic chain, the hamstrings and the glutes, and your lower back will be engaged. So if you're feeling some lower back burning, that's okay. The muscles should still be engaged and involved, but if you're feeling pain, that's a different story. But muscle burning, that is okay in your lower back. So to make this glute focused, as you can see, I'm tucking my shin, I'm holding the weight tight and close to my chest, and I do have a rounding in my back. This is probably the only time I'm going to tell you guys to round your back, but doing this is going to help shift the focus onto your glutes and less from your lower back. So I'm telling you, it looks crazy, but like the engagement is insane when you tuck your chin, round your back, and tuck that weight in on your chest. And again, same focus here. You still want to be focusing on driving up through your heels as well. So I did that for 3 sets of 12. Then we went into the leg curl machine. Let me give you some hot take tea. I hate I don't like using that word. I dislike our leg curl machine because the pad on the top of my like leg doesn't come down tight enough on me, so I can't do a ton of weight because then it just makes my butt pop off the ground, / I can't even just move it because I'm not locked in. So that's why I have this pad on my shin to help bridge that gap between the pad and my leg. Since I can't go as heavy, I'm using this more so as a burnout. So I'm doing 3 sets of 20, lighter weight than normal, but still definitely a challenge for me for sure. And I'm doing a little bit higher rep scheme. You really just want to focus on driving your knees back to your bum by contracting your hamstrings.
I know there's not much room or time essentially to do vlogging portions during week of workout videos because it's already so long, but I just need to say, like, yesterday my legs were so far from being shaven and I had shorts on my body. Today and yesterday, but I covered it up with braids, my hair is so far from clean and I'm going in public. But don't fear, check this. We're of course gonna hat it, but I didn't even realize that my brown hat is gonna match this brown set, even though it's gonna be a different brown. But like, I'm here for it still. I don't know why, but I just felt the need to like share that initial moment with you. Okay. So, like I said, it's Tuesday, and I'm wearing this set from Athlete, which I posted a video reviewing this set not too long ago, so I'll link it in a little card. And this zip up, I feel like you guys see me wear this all the time. It's from Lululemon. This hat is my brother's that I stole, and I have no clue where he got it. Let's go.
Welcome to workout number 2. So, if you don't know, I'm low-key a jump rope fiend. I love jump roping. I'm a sucker for jump roping. I feel like I'm dancing. It brings my energy like through the roof. It just gets me super hyped. It makes my heart rate get up relatively quickly, warms me up really fast, and I love using it to work on like footwork and athleticism. I think it's such a cool component to implement into my training routine, and not to mention they're like $3 to $5. I literally, people always ask me to link this, but like my dad literally found this for me at Goodwill or something, like some secondhand store. So it's not some special jump rope, it's just any jump rope that you guys can find. Then once my heart rate is up, I did a little bit of dynamic stretching / mobility work. I can only do so much with these because of my wrist still, so like I can't really pull this band that well because it's gonna bend my wrist too much. That kind of still hurts me and my ulna. So regardless, you could take a band and just do this motion back and forth just to get some mobility and range of motion in your shoulder. And then from there, I favor one side, so you kind of do one side at a time, and this again just to helps open up that whole shoulder socket before we move into this upper body workout. Then I did some just little teeny bit of mobility work just with my wrist itself, just with bringing it through some circles. All right, then we moved into lat pull downs. My first time doing these since I broke my wrist, which is absolutely insane. So I did 4 sets of 15 here. I still definitely went lighter today, a little bit higher volume because I didn't want to I just was testing out the waters with my wrist. You know what I'm saying? I'm using a wide bar, wide grip. You want to make sure you're getting a nice stable base to begin with. I scoot up nice and close to that pad. I really secure my legs on either side. I have a nice wide stance. Now, once you have a stable trunk by, you know, engaging your core as well, you're going to pull down by using your hands as hooks for the weight and really contracting your back muscles to bring that bar down. And you want to stop just when that bar hits the top of your chest. There's no need need to go any lower than that. And again, you also want to make sure you're retracting your shoulder blades back and down to also engage your core and your whole trunk as well, and keep your chest nice and open as well. You don't want your shoulders to roll forward. Really concentrate on this movement, have good mind to muscle connection, go slow, don't let momentum take you through this movement. Okay, moving on to a superset, which I actually loved this. Well, this first exercise I love. So I call this a T-bar barbell row, and I did this for 4 sets of 12. I love this so much. So this is for our horizontal pulling motion. Last one was our vertical pull. This is our horizontal pull. So it's just a different movement pattern. So I'm essentially grabbing that barbell with both hands. The positioning of yourself in relation to the barbell is really important. You want to position yourself so that when you come up and bring that barbell to your chest, it's hitting right the top of your chest, just about where you would come down to on that previous exercise. So you don't want it to come too low or too high, or else you're not going to feel it correctly in your back. So you want to position yourself over the bar that when you're at the top of that movement, that weight at the end of the barbell is touching the center of your chest. You're keeping your elbows nice and tucked inwards towards your sides, and you really want to pretend like you're driving your elbows back to your hips. Again, keeping your elbows nice and tight to your sides. If you flail out, that's going to be hitting more of like your rear delt and not the actual upper back target that we're wanting to focus on here. So keep your elbows nice and tight to your side. Really drive up by bringing your elbows back to your hips. Keep your neck in line with your spine. Your back should be nice and flat as well, like there's a board strapped to your back. I'm having a nice athletic stance by pushing my hips back to really stay squared and centered over the weight. And like I said, really focus on contracting those back muscles to bring that barbell up, using your hands as hooks for the weight. Then I supersetted that with 4 sets of 12 on a normal flat bench press. I just prefer this with dumbbells as opposed to like the actual big barbell. Here, similar thing with the first exercise. I'm keeping my legs a nice wide stance, really planting my heels into the ground. I'm retracting my shoulder blades back and down, really tightening my core. So now we have a really nice, sturdy, stable base, so we can actually move this weight in a controlled way. So now moving up to the movement of our hands, it's kind of hard to tell, but when I'm coming down, I'm not coming down in a T square from my sides. I'm kind of coming down in a 45-degree angle here to help really target my chest and the front of my shoulders. Those are our main 2 focuses here. So when you bring those dumbbells up towards the sky, just focus on squeezing your chest and the front of your shoulders. Go nice and slow. Again, make sure you're not having momentum bringing through this movement. Then, not really sure why, but I just decided not to push it. My wrist was feeling a little funky. I was feeling a little uneasy. So I digressed and I put on my brace, but I went into another superset, again, meaning I'm performing 2 exercises back to back with little to no rest, and then you rest after the 2 exercises are completed, and that's your first set. So here I did a lateral raise, 3 sets of 12, same thing, retracting your shoulder blades back and down, having a nice tight core. Now our trunk is stabilized. Then you're going to bring up your arms towards the sky, stopping when you're at about a T. You don't need to raise any higher than that. You should be stopping when your arms are about parallel with the ground. And when you get to the top of that movement, I personally tip my pinkies out just a skosh to really hone in on that contraction on your delts. This is going to be hitting the very side of your shoulder muscle. I'm also keeping a nice slight bend in my arm as well to protect my elbow. So then I supersetted that with the rear delt bent over row. Love these. Haven't done these in so long, like literally since I broke my wrist. So these were for 3 sets of 12. Now this is targeting the back portion of your shoulder. We're getting nice and square at the end of a bench. We're having this barbell behind our legs, and I have a nice wide grip, and I'm bringing that barbell up towards the back of my legs by pulling up through my rear delts or the back of my shoulders. But as you can see here, the difference between that bent over row that we did previously, that T-bar row, and here, my elbows are flared out to the side, meaning that now we are targeting the rear delt, the back of the shoulder, like I said previously. So keeping those hands, those arms both nice and wide to really target those rear delts. I go nice and slow here and really pause at the top because it's a smaller muscle, so it helps me with getting a better mind to muscle engagement. Moving into another superset. I just was the queen of supersets today, again, because I wasn't going crazy heavy. I was just trying to keep my heart rate up. So here I did a hammer curl for 3 sets of 15. A normal bicep curl just was not doing it for me again. That any little turning of my wrist causes some tension on my ulna, because I also broke that, so that's just uncomfortable to me when there's a load and my hand is also twisted. So I opted for a bicep curl, meaning my palms are facing towards one another, and I just came into a normal curl. Same concept, same body position as the lateral raise. Shoulder blades are retracted back and down, core is nice and tight, getting a nice stable base, keeping my arms nice and tight to my sides. The only thing moving are my forearms. The only joint involved is my elbow, so your upper arm should be completely still. pinning those elbows to your sides, and the only thing moving should be your forearm to bring those weights up by squeezing your bicep. Moving into a cable tricep extension for 3 sets of 15 as well. I did a single arm here because again, that like hammer curl type grip felt the best for my wrist. Keeping that elbow nice and tight to my side again, upper arm completely stationary. I pretend like there's a pin in my elbow because we're trying to isolate our tricep or the back of your arm. We're really driving with our wrist down towards the ground to get that weight up. Our hands are just hooks for the weight. I have a nice slight forward lean just to again kind of isolate that arm and have it hanging a little bit to minimize momentum, and it feels the most comfortable for me. You don't have to stand like this. Then I finished off with a mini ab superset because I just was kind of feeling it, and I haven't done these in a while as well since I broke my wrist. These are called decline knee tucks. I only did 2 sets here of these 2 ab exercises. You essentially are using a decline bench, holding on to the little teeny pole that comes out from the top, and you're just bringing your knees in. Now, when you're doing any sort of ab motion, you're going to also hear me say this a ton. You want to pretend like you're bringing your belly button down to your spine. I pretend like I'm like using a little drawstring and scrunching my belly button to my spine. This is going to engage your TVA, or like the most inner layer muscle of your abs. I'm telling you, you're going to feel these movements so much more when you actually engage that muscle. Also, kind of creating a posterior pelvic tilt like I talked about previously will also help to engage that TVA. So that's super important to preface this whole move. You don't want a big arch in your lower back because your abs will not be engaged. You're going to drive your knees inwards towards your chest, and I'm coming all the way up and popping my bum off of that bench to hone in on that contraction and get a little bit deeper in that muscle contraction. Then from there, I went into a decline sit-up. So now I flopped the other way, but I was holding a little 10-pound plate, I believe, here to increase difficulty, and I'm just doing a normal sit-up. Same thing applies here, engaging my TVA by sucking my belly button to my spine, not having a big arch in my lower back, and kind of tucking my pelvis. So again, I like to go nice and slow here and really focus on squeezing my abs throughout this whole movement, and I like to kind of stop at the top as well to hone in on that contraction. So I like to go nice and controlled here, try not to have momentum taking me through this movement. I want to be very intentional with having my muscles needing to contract in order to bring me through the movement, not simply just momentum carrying the weight.
Alright, Lat Raise, happy Wednesday. Another beautiful, glorious Wednesday. Bright blue skies today. Look at the sunshine on my skin. I will say it's already 2:30 p.m. I've been working like a dog. No, but I've been like in such a flow state lately, and I love it. Like, I go through phases with Lift Fit and everything since this is such like a creative job, and I really don't like forcing content or creativity. When I get this like just bursts of creativity and I get in my flow state, it's just like the best feeling ever. Like when I just have constantly these ideas and stuff, and I'm like wanting to film and all that sort of stuff. So anyways, today is gonna be a rest day for me, and so on my rest days I make an emphasis to do like a longer walk, just like to get more movement in because I'm not doing anything else for the day, you know what I mean? And I kind of wanted to give you guys like some insight on the substance of my walks. I don't really do anything like super intense. Like maybe on my rest days I'll do some more hills and stuff like that and walk a little bit faster, but on my normal daily walks, it's solely just to increase my movement, not necessarily to walk really fast or really intensely or up hills and all that sort of stuff, because I found when I would walk really hard and be training, I found like it just would stress my body out. Like it was just that little tipping point was like the straw that broke the camel's back that would just make me feel like I was a little bit overtraining. So that's something to keep in mind. Like if you're starting to walk very intensely, it kind of starts to mesh over into exercise as opposed to just like increasing your NEAT or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So like I'm saying, like my point of my daily steps and my walks are just to get steps in to increase my daily movement throughout the day, not to implement another form of exercise. It's just to help kind of move away from the sedentary lifestyle that our generation and Americans and everyone inevitably has been having, because it's just the way our society works. And what's beautiful is if you want something to listen to during your walks, because I like to listen to podcasts, you can listen to my podcast, Live Fit Listens, subtle plug, but there you go, you can take me with you when you go walk. That's so cute. I'm so excited for that.
Funny, huh? Yeah, I'm the funniest.
Happy Thursday. Literally, this is like, if I had to pick like a little like pinpoint of the week, some might disagree, but it's a Thursday between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. And it's currently 4:15 p.m. But we're pushing through because we have to push through because it's leg day, so we have no choice. Today is glutes and quads. I walked earlier today. I honestly had a great walk. Dressed warmer today, so it was fantastic. This is the realness that you don't always want to get it done. People ask me, do you ever not want to go to the gym? Are you ever not motivated? Yes, absolutely. But this is when discipline comes in, as everyone says, but you need to want it for you and keep in mind the person you want to become and act as if you are that person. And the person that I want to become would be going into the gym right now at 4:15 on a Thursday. Okay? Also, everything you're going to see me wearing in this workout is from Outfleet Athletics. Everything, even down to the sports bra.
All right, welcome to workout number 3 of the week. Quads and glutes, baby. I actually really am excited to share this workout with you guys because I did so many different moves. I was really branching out of the box, no pun intended, because of this first exercise. First thing is my normal mobility work and some band work. All of those same still things apply. It's just the same as Monday, so I didn't want to show it to you again. Same thing, again, just a reminder, you could use code LIVFIT to get 20% off of those resistance bands if you're needing some. They also have some other at-home fitness equipment as well if you're looking for things, and it also supports me as well. So again, thank you so much if you do use my code and think of me at checkout. So moving into the first exercise, we did box sumo squats. Now I'm not using a box, I'm using a bench, same thing. And I did 3 sets of 12 and then 1 set of 10. I kind of was working up my weight throughout this whole thing. So first, of course, I did warm-up sets as well just to get the movement pattern in place. But so in terms of a sumo squat position, a sumo position in general is when your feet are just past shoulder width apart, your toes are pointed out just slightly at about a 45-degree angle, and you're just having a nice big wide stance. This is going to help shift the focus, honestly, more so onto your glutes and your hamstrings, which I know this is a quad and glute focus day, but I just always kind of prefer this stance, especially with this movement. I was mainly using this to target my glutes, honestly, more than anything. With that being said, you want to position the bench or the box so that it is right in alignment with your bum. So you're essentially doing a squat, but coming down and sitting on that either box or a bench or platform, whatever you're using. And the purpose of this is to stop momentum and require you to have to come up fully out of the bottom of that squat without utilizing momentum from the way down. So same thing applies here. When we come down, you're going to break at your hips, then having your knees follow, going down like you're sitting into a chair, just like how you would go to sit down on this bench, pretty literally. And then you're going to drive up through your heels and really focus on contracting your glutes and specifically the bottom of your glutes to push you up out of this movement. Next, we did step-ups for 4 sets of 8. Am I crazy? Every time I do a single leg movement, like a Bulgarian split squat or like something like this, a step-up for 4 sets, I'm like, Liv, like you overachiever. Someone was ambitious today. So same thing here with a normal lunge. I position my legs the same way. So I'm positioning my feet so that my knee is stacked over my ankle. I find if my foot is too close to me, it's going to be too quad focused when I still want to make sure I'm getting good glute engagement. So again, that's really crucial to me. You really want to be driving up through your heels, as always, like I've always been saying, to really target your glute engagement. And then when you're coming up at the top, that's when you're really going to feel that contraction in your quad as well. So you also really want to focus on using that front working leg to bring you up, stepping onto that step. It's so easy to cheat with this movement, and I was honestly trying to work on my form as well. It's so easy to push off with that back leg or really bounce, going nice, slow, and controlled. Again, trying to minimize momentum when you can. And if you really thought I was going to take you through a leg day without hip thrusts, you're at the wrong channel, sister, because I do them every leg day, especially since I'm able to do them again with a normal barbell. You already know we're back on our bullshit. So these are actually a variation of hip hip thrust. So I'm going lighter than I did the first day. So I'm kind of upping volume here. And I'm doing something called myo rep hip thrusts. So here, essentially what you do, it's kind of a different variation of a drop set if you're familiar with that. So essentially I'm coming up and doing a set of 12, dropping the weight down, like physically coming off of the bench, taking about 5 to 10 deep breaths, going back up for 5 more reps, coming back down, resting 5 to 10 more breaths, finishing out with 5 more reps. That's one set. So the difference between this and a drop set is we're actually not touching the weight. So in general, I'm choosing a weight that's lighter than like my normal working set because I'm doing more volume of reps here, if that makes sense. So here, like we're doing over 20 reps and that's just one set. So we're doing 3 sets of this as a whole, touching on form just again really quickly, making sure we're in the center of the barbell pad and that the barbell pad is in the center of the bar, shimming up our legs to bring our heels closer to our glutes, using our elbows and our heels to get us up onto that bench, having like the bottom of our sports bra or our shoulder blades be what's resting on the bench, having our knees stacked over our ankles, really focusing on having that 90-degree angle in our knees, constantly looking forward the whole time to create that posterior pelvic tilt, scooping up with our glutes and driving up through our heels every single rep, every single time, scooping our glutes and really locking out at the top and having a thorough contraction. So now we've done a lot of different movement patterns, right? We did a squat, we did a unilateral lunge movement, we did a thrusting motion. So now we need kind of something in the lateral plane of motion. So this is kind of mimicking that. This is a glute med kickback for 3 sets of 15. So here is kind of similar to a normal kickback, but we're doing this at a 45-degree angle out to the side. Again, pretending that there's a board strapped to our back, keeping our neck in line with our spine. I bend over a little bit just to protect my lower back, and it just is the most comfortable for me because it helps me to minimize any bouncing and any momentum. I'm keeping my core really nice and tight, and I'm just sweeping my leg backwards like I'm kicking a can across the floor. And like I said, I'm not kicking straight out behind me and I'm not kicking straight out to the side. I'm kicking out right in a line, 45-degree angle, and you should be feeling this at the top outer portion of your glutes. If you were to put your hand there when you sit down, that's where you should be feeling it. Feel free to touch it as you're doing it. I do that a lot sometimes as well. And you want to keep your upper body very stationary. You don't want any curving in your lower back as you shoot that leg up. Go light and really control this movement and have good mind to muscle connection. I only use max 40 or 50 pounds on this. I don't go crazy heavy. This is more so for volume as opposed to trying to lift heavy weight. Then I did a superset only for 2 sets to finish this off. I did the leg extension for sets of 20. I used to do these all the time and I really don't do them often anymore, but same thing. So I try to position the seat so that what I'm sitting on kind of comes till the crease in my knee. I don't like being pushed too far forward or too far back. This thing hurts so bad. I feel like this machine is so underrated. Like this kills me way more than like Bulgarians, bro. Like I said, I supersetted that with fire hydrants for 2 sets of 15. Again, just to target those abductors, keeping in a nice stable tabletop position. You want your back nice and flat, all the good stuff that I've been saying, and you want to drive out with your knee out to the side, and that smaller glute muscles, like I said, should be engaging. This is just, again, some more like burnout work, if you will. And yeah, that's it for the second leg day of the week. Hey. Welcome to Friday. Today is my full body functional day, 4th training day of the week, you know. Today is when I use like lighter weight stuff, usually body weight stuff. This is more like conditioning day to work on athleticism, footwork, quickness, speed, also a little bit of stamina, get some cardiovascular components in the workouts. I need to stop. I'm in such a weird mood. Pull it in. So what I'm wearing today is all from Honor Active. Well, would you look at that? Last workout of the week. Our Friday sweaty EMOM circuit. Now, like upper body day, I like to warm up here with jump roping as well because we're getting more so ready for, you know, a more cardio based workout. So this is definitely a good warm up for this. Same thing, working on footwork, working on athleticism, getting your heart rate up, getting warm because we're about to be jumping around. We're about to be moving. So for this workout, we're doing 7 exercises, for 4 rounds. So overall, the workout should be just under 30 minutes, including rest times and all that sort of stuff, not including the warm up though. Essentially what an EMOM workout is, it stands for every minute on the minute. So you're going to have 1 minute to complete each exercise, and whatever time that you have left after you completed those number of reps within that 1 minute is your rest time. So the kicker here is, as you continue to keep going and you get more tired throughout the workout, you honestly most likely will take longer to get through the reps, right? But at the same time, now you're decreasing your rest time. So that's why it's a very interesting workout. I love structuring my workouts like this because it's just fun and it keeps things engaged and everything just moves really quickly, which I really like. For minute 1, we're starting with 10 dumbbell snatches. Here we are coming into a normal squat. I personally have a nice big wide stance. Like I said, I just prefer sumo squat stance, and especially something like this where we're bringing that kettlebell and that dumbbell, in between our legs. So nice big wide sumo squat stance like I told you about previously, and you're going to come down into a squat and then drive that weight up towards the sky as you explode up out of that movement. I use really light weights here. This is only an 8-pound dumbbell, kind of for my wrist, but also just in general. You'll notice I use very light weights during these workouts because this is more like cardio based. I want more emphasis on body weight movements. So I do 10 reps on each side. Then after that, you can see I take a rest until that first minute is complete. And then after that, we went into 6 single leg stiff leg deadlifts to a knee drive. So this is great for stability. I honestly found these super challenging, and that's why I could really only get 6 done on each leg in the time that was given, and also have an adequate amount of rest time. So you're going to come down into a single leg deadlift, try to touch that weight to the ground as close as you can, and then come up and bring your knee up towards your chest. This is amazing for stability, for ankle stability, stability in like your core and in your hips and just everything. It's just amazing, and you really activate your core when you drive that leg up. Then after that, I went into 10 push-ups to 4 mountain climbers. So you do a push-up and then 4 mountain climbers, that's 1, and you're going to do that 10 times. You don't have to use dumbbells. I just am, again, for my wrist because I don't have that mobility yet, just to use the flat ground. I'm coming down into a push-up. My elbows are about a 45-degree angle from me. I'm trying to keep my head in line with my spine, a nice tight core. We don't want our bum poking up in the air or sagging. And then when we come and do those mountain climbers, again, really keep that core nice and tight. Pretend someone's cinching your belly button to your spine with a draw cord, like I said previously, and really try to explode those knees up to your chest. This is great for your core, great for your chest, your arms, your shoulders, your whole upper body. That's just a really great wholesome movement. Again, resting again until the next minute begins. For minute 4, we are doing 25 glute bridges. This is when I use a kettlebell. You could also totally feel free to pop on a band if you like. I like doing that sometimes as well to incorporate like those smaller muscles, like I said previously, your glute medius and minimus. Prefer it from a dumbbell just because the dumbbell, I don't like the way it feels on either side of my hips. So this kind of sits perfectly like right on my lap. Focus on driving up through my heels as always and really squeezing my glutes at the top, coming out as high as I can, and also tucking my hips like I said previously. We don't want that pelvis to tip forward like you're tilting a bucket. We want that posterior pelvic tilt where we're tipping our hips backwards. Then moving into minute 5. Here we did 10 reverse lunge to lateral raises. So you're going to come down, do a normal reverse lunge, sinking back and down into that lunge so that our knee arrives stacked over our ankle as well, driving up through our heels to get good glute engagement. This is going to target your quads as well when you come up out of that lunge. As you rise up, you're going to come and do a lateral raise with those dumbbells at the top of the movement. Again, not skyrocketing those dumbbells, coming up till we're about a T and our arms are parallel with the ground. So like I said, we're doing 10 lunges and lateral raises on each side. Then 7 is 15 Superman. So this is great for your back, your glutes. These are honestly harder than they look, but you're essentially going to try to lift your chest up off the ground as high as you can and lift your feet up off the ground. So you're going to be doing this by contracting your back and your glutes. So I bring my hands up in front of my head. I come down and lift up at the same time, and like I said, really try to bring our chest up off the ground while at the same time squeezing our glutes to get our legs off the ground. And lastly, for the final minute, we did 20 plate handoffs. This is honestly one of my favorite ab exercises ever. So same thing here, sucking our belly button to our spine like there's a draw cord there. You're essentially going to be passing this weight back and forth from your hands to your shin. So you also don't want to have your heels touch the ground, so do your best to keep your feet constantly off the ground at all times. And you're going to bring your knees up to your chest by really tightening your abs and then grabbing that plate with your hands. I'm using a 10-pound plate, bringing it over your head as you extend your legs back out and come back. So it's kind of like a full body crunch, a hollow crunch kind of type situation, but with a knee bend, I guess. And we're adding a plate here, but you can count however you want to. Either one way could be one, or back and forth could be one for you. So you can count whatever way that you would like to, but this one is a killer.
Happy Saturday. You guys know how big I am in mental health and just being aware and honoring your headspace. And last night kind of was struggling. Today kind of was struggling. Not every day is perfect for me by any means, but it's actually nice outside. Like, it was snowing earlier today, which also put me in like a mood, but we got bright blue skies, which is great. So they want to take advantage of that and go for a walk, but usually on the weekends, like, I just will go for a walk of some sort, not all the time, but most of the time I like to go for a walk on the weekends. And today I'm doing it for the sake of my mental health, because being outside helps with mental health and walking helps me with my mental health. I'm just sitting here because I don't want to walk because it's cold. It's really sunny and beautiful out, but it's cold and I'm cold. Maybe I'll just go walk and get a matcha, come back, and then go get lunch.
Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. The leaves are so unchanging. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. The leaves are so
Alright, you guys, that is it for this week of workouts video. Again, warm welcome to the 12 Days of Livfiitmas. I really hope you enjoyed the first video. If you did, and if you want to see more videos in this series for the month of December, don't forget to subscribe. We're on the road to 50K by the end of the year, people, and I believe in us. We can do it. I'm sending you guys so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.